super expensive camera, wireless microphones, battery charger, knife, SSD drive, action cameras, zoom lens, video light, another camera, shotgun microphone, ND filters, drones, a tripod. These are a couple of things that I use as a content creator on a weekly or monthly basis. I guess you can say that things that I use in my work. And that is what we're going to talk about in today's video. So for those of you that haven't been here, my name is Peter, I live in Sweden, and I hope you're going to have a good time because we are going to... My English is fading off. I haven't made enough videos lately, so it feels like I'm just, might as well switch back to Swedish. But if you like the video, consider consider I was actually thinking about making a what's in my camera bag video as of 2025. But the thing is, nothing in my camera bag has changed over the last 1.5 years. And the last time that I did a what's in my camera bag video was back in 2023 when I launched the Tri-Charge. And ever since then, it's basically pretty much stayed the same. So I thought instead, why not show you the things that I use here in studio and whenever I'm on the go, and give you a little bit of explanation as to why I use them and what I like about them and what I don't like. Let's start with the camera because that is the most important thing, and the camera that I use the most is this. This is the Sony ZV-E1 together with the 1635 GM lens. Now, this is the generation 1 of the GM lens. There is a new one on the market that you can purchase. However, though, I gotta say that this lens, over the course of these years that I've been using it, has performed incredibly well. I do like the characteristics of it, and it is really good to be able to have the 16-35 focal length whenever you do a lot of vlogs. And I do like that you have the 82mm filter thread, because then you can buy the biggest one and then just apply it to all the other ones. I will say that I am a little bit worrisome about the overheating of the ZV-E1, mainly because whenever I did live stream here on YouTube, I tried using this, but then at 42 minutes in, it just died and it couldn't get it going. Now, there is a fan that you can buy and you can put here in the back and it's gonna cool off the entire camera. I never experienced that issue other than when I did a 42-minute long take when I was live streaming. Whenever I've been shooting with this over the course of longer period of times, it has performed like a beast. And the main reason why I like this so much is because you have the exact same sensor in this camera that you have in the FX3, which is the camera that I'm recording with right now. To think that a camera in this size, that is also cheaper than the FX3, has the same sensor and the same capabilities and the same features and even more features than the FX3 is kind of wild. And I really like the fact that Sony brought this down to a smaller, more usable size so that you can fit more into your camera bag whenever you're on the go. Man, there's so much good stuff in this camera that I can still, to this day, highly recommend it. I think it's 2.5 years old now, 2 years old. The next camera, though, is this, and it is an expensive one. Not only the camera in and by itself right now, but also the lens, because I just got my hands on the 28-70 f2.0. And the previous video that I recorded here on the channel was actually recorded with this lens. And I've been playing around with it here in the studio, trying to grab a couple of different angles. I really like the fact that it is a 2.0 aperture all the way through the entire zoom. Now, for those of you that are beginners here and might not know what the aperture does, it is basically blurring out the background. That is the simple way of explaining it. It allows you to get a shallow depth of field and also let in a lot of light to your camera so you can shoot at a lower ISO. So the lower the number on the lens right here, the aperture, the more light your camera will capture. But ever since I got the A9 III, I've been using this as my main camera. I actually switched from the ZV-E1 to this. I am baffled by the fact that this camera does everything that the ZV-E1 does better than the ZV-E1, except for one thing, and that is the ISO performance. Because on this camera, you got to go up very high. You can see right here that right now we're at 500. But if we want to go to the base ISO for video, it's at ISO 2000. Is this a deal breaker? I'm going to say absolutely not, because you can just drag it down to ISO 500 and it's going to be just fine. Have I noticed any difference when I shoot my videos here on YouTube if I use ISO 500 compared to 2000? I'm going to say no, and you probably haven't either, because no one has commented on the videos that I've shot with this. And when it comes to photos, love them. 24 megapixels for me is the sweet spot. I have found absolutely nothing except for the ISO point that I don't like with the A9 III. It is a beast of a camera, but be prepared for low light scenarios. This might not be the camera for you. So while we're talking about lenses and cameras, I also want to give a shout out to this lens, which is the 7200 f2.8 Mark II. If you're looking to get some of the best zoom lenses there is on the market, this is one of them. Always have this in my camera bag whenever I go places where I know that I might just want to have a little bit of compression in my shots. There's something special about going up to 200mm at 2.8 and something that makes it so fun to use as well. In the front here, I usually have my ND filters, and when we're talking about ND filters, these are my absolute favorites. These are the Peter McKinnon and Polar Pro MagSafe Helix. I have been using them ever since it was released. They just work so easily. Just smack it on there, lock it, and then you're done. Whenever something is easy to use, I think it's worth the money. Not only is it going to save you a lot of time, but also hassle and headache when you're on set, you're on location, or you're on the go and you want to capture specific things. And this is one of those things that I think is worth the money. Chargers, the UPO and Prime Gear Tri-Charge, which is my doing. And I am incredibly proud of this. I'm going to take every single chance that I can to promote this. But if you, just like me, want to have all your batteries in one single place together with your SD cards and not having to worry, maybe you have one of those chargers that you get with the camera where you can only charge one battery, this solves the problem. You don't have to get up in the night, you don't have to bring several different chargers, you just bring this, and it's also instantly going to give you the battery status just by the tap of a button, so that you know when you're on location, okay, I can use this battery and this battery, flop, flop, put the old ones back in, and then charge. And then if you want to make sure that you drain them properly towards the end of the day, you can use these batteries to charge your other devices with the USB out port. And it's also one of the reasons why I never bring a power bank anymore, because 3 batteries is more than I usually go through on a day-to-day basis. But the good thing is that I always have one extra battery with me if I need to charge my phone. The only thing that I miss with this is the capability to actually be able to charge the batteries in the unit. And trust me, I've been thinking about this a whole lot. And one of the reasons that I did not implement that is because of the weight. I don't want to make this into something that weighs freaking half a kilo without the batteries. It should be something that's lightweight, easy to bring, and something that you can use on a day-to-day basis without weighing you down too much, because you can honestly put those grams on bringing an extra drone or whatever it might be. What else do we got in this repertoire? Oh, shotgun mics. This one right here is basically a little brother of the EZM B1M. Now, when it comes to shotgun mics, I think that having a shotgun mic that you don't have to charge and you can just attach directly into the hot shoe of your camera and it instantly works, that is sick. And you can see that it doesn't make it that much bigger. One of the downsides with this though is this. Super annoying. So if you're walking around, it's going to be one of those sounds that is going to ruin your entire audio track if you're using this. But if you have a little bit less wobbly hands, then this might be for you. Whenever I'm recording my talking heads here in the studio, I actually don't use my shotgun microphone. One of the reasons for it is because it took up too much of the echo in the room. And the only solution that I found to reduce the echo was not to put in sound panels in the ceiling. It was actually to bring the microphone closer to my mouth whenever I recorded. And it's also one of the reasons why I have my microphone on the cap, because it doesn't matter how I move my head, the distance from my mouth is always going to be a constant, which means that the audio level is going to be perfect all the way through, and there's no need to implement a limiter or anything like that, because it handles itself. And the microphones that I do use is the DJI Mic 2. I also have the hot shoe adapter for the Sony cameras, so it records directly into the camera and makes the entire, recording thing hassle-free. Just makes things so much easier. Next up is storage, as they say in France. Storage. Lagring. we say in Swedish. Now this is the SanDisk Pro Blade Transport together with SanDisk Pro Blade Mag. One of the reasons I like these so much is that you just plug these in to the unit right there. And this has a USB-C 4.0 port, which you can transfer quickly to your computer. It's not Thunderbolt that I wish it was. If you just take this and put this into the Pro Blade station, then you're going to get really fast transfer speed, up to 3000 megabit per second. And that for me is more than enough. So whenever I'm on the go, travel to Iceland or something, I bring one of these with me. So when I get home, I just plug it into the Pro Blade station, and then that's that. Action cameras. This is also a fun thing because I've been testing out all these action cameras throughout the last year. We have the Insta360 Ace Pro 2, we have the Action 5, and the GoPro 13. Now I do have my favorite. For me, it's the Action 5. I think it's the better one. It looks the best, according to me, but you might be having another opinion, which is totally fine. But it's also the most intuitive to use and the least prone to damage of the three. The Insta360 Ace Pro 2 though is a fun camera. It is a flip up screen. It's made more for vloggers rather than being a proper action camera. And this is not something that I would buy to put on my FPV drone though, but it is a fun camera nonetheless that provides a pretty good image quality. The GoPro 13 is something that I'm fairly disappointed with last year when it was released. It did not provide us with a great image quality. It's pretty much the same as the GoPro 12. There's not a lot of things that makes this better than the previous version. I do think that if you want to have a GoPro, then the GoPro 11 was the last one that I really liked. But then again, it all depends on what it is that you're going to do with your cameras. I think the Action 5 is great for the things that I do. FPV, day-to-day use, and just having fun with an action camera. But if you're vlogging more, then this might be for you. If you are doing some scuba diving, I don't know, this might be for you. Talking about DJI, you probably knew that this was coming, but drones. We have two favorites right now. The DJI Air 3S, so many good things in this drone right now that makes it one of the best drones that you can get. But the next one is this one, which is the DJI Mini 4. And if you're looking to get the smallest drone on the market or having a drone that is the smallest footprint, then this one is no doubt one of the best drones that you can get ever. Lens cover is not even there, but I've used this drone ever since it was released for everything that I do, pretty much. If I just bring my camera bag with me, then this is in there. Now, there is a couple of drawbacks that you need to do, or drawbacks, not drawbacks. What is the word I'm looking for? I'm gonna have some coffee in between here, va? Like a lightning from the bright sky. Trade-offs that you need to make in order for this to be your thing. Like, first off, you don't have proper D-Log, which is a thing that I think is very important, and that is something that I don't even have in the Air 3S. You can see that the image quality is not on point with something like the Air 3, but also if you compare the cameras side by side, there's no question about which one has the bigger camera sensor and provides more light to actually hit the camera. The Air 3S is heavier and beefier than the Mini 4. It's a perfect mid-ground between the Mini 4 and the Mavic 3, but it's also kind of not. The Mavic 3 Pro is a really good one, so it's going to be super exciting to see what DJI will release in the Mavic 4 whenever that is released. Because if this is what they have provided us in 2024, I'm hyped. Now for one of the absolute most important things that most people tend to forget is going to be light. And this right here is a Nanlite PavoTube 2 15XR. The reason that I like the PavoTubes so much is because they are portable, easy to use, and simple to control lighting with. I've been using Nanlite for the majority of my YouTube career, and I cannot recommend them enough. Like, whenever someone asks me what kind of light should I get or what kind of light should I buy, I'm like, Nanlite, Forza 300 series, PavoSlim. But this tube, like the small one, is one of the tubes that is highly recommended for anyone that wants to shoot some cool B-roll and have a simple thing that you can just place on the table, turn on, and all of a sudden you have some orange light coming out of this thing. Simple and fast. Last thing that I'm going to talk about is the Peak Design Travel Tripod. As I've said in one of my previous videos, one of the things that I do not like is the tilt, right? So when you're doing like that, it's going to be hard for you to tilt the camera head. But then again, all in all, the lightweight of this carbon fiber tripod, the small size of it, I never feel like this is an obstacle to bring in my camera bag on a day-to-day basis or on flights or anything like that. I just enjoy it. I think it's a great product that could actually be improved now that I've been using it for 3 years. That's it. Those are things that, the knife, huh? This is from Griffin Company. So if you're ever looking to get a knife, this is the Scout 3.5. There's probably no other knife that I like as much as this one. It is with me every single day here in the studio. It opens all the boxes that I got arriving to me here. And it's just an overall awesome freaking knife. Front flipper. Love that. Check this out. When you're doing like this, it looks like it's just popping out. Huh? Hope you enjoyed this. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do subscribe. Peter from Sweden saying goodbye.